How honest do you want me to be?
100% on.
If we don't tell the truth, then how many times do we have to go through the process until we finally get it?
It was just everything against me, right? So it took years and years of just pushing, uncomfortable pushing.
Now, was there pressure to be like anyone else? Have you actually audited your content, or are you just posting and hoping?
Nope, I actually just started posting.
Love it, Andrew. Welcome. My name is Kelly Lorraine, and welcome to Watch Me Build Social. I'm here with Andrew. We're here to talk about strategizing for your social media. Now, Andrew, you just said, what? Tell me what you said.
I just started posting on social media, so
Okay.
I'm a newbie.
You're a newbie.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what brings you to the strategy session today?
Well, I want to, explore that type of content now, or that space to put myself out there on social media. And I kind of want to, build a community on platforms too, to kind of grow my brand as an actor, because I'm an actor.
I was just going to say, what do you do? So how did you get into acting?
Well, it's actually a long story, actually. So I'll keep some details. But technically, I studied when I was young. I did do some theater when I was a kid, like in elementary school, and maybe a little bit in high school. But it didn't really go anywhere from there. I would be on stage. I would do it like pretty good, I thought. And I get good, like even reception from people.
Amazing.
But it's acting, so in most cases it's like, oh, it's a hobby. You just have fun with it, right? And if you're a kid, it's even less. So it's like they're just kids. So I technically started there, but then it stopped after high school. I did like grade 10, I think, grade 10 drama class, and that was it. I moved on. I was told I have to go do something that's not
something serious.
Yeah, something serious.
Okay.
Not acting.
Okay. You can't be a serious actor.
No.
No. Okay.
It's for fun. So I just completely took a different approach. I went to university first to do economics, actually.
Okay.
It lasted one semester, and then I moved to political science,
Right.
where I wanted to study to become a lawyer. And I hated that program the whole entire time.
Right.
So during my time in New York University, where I went, I was taking acting classes privately on the side, once a week.
Right.
Because I needed to kind of, itch,
Yeah, you had the actor's itch.
Yeah, the actor's itch. And also I took it was like acting for non-majors class, and I did that in New York as well. It was like an elective, which also kind of brought it back out from me. And
I don't think it ever left you.
No, it didn't. It was just like hidden for a long time. I did that, and then I moved to film school. And I did that for 3 years. And now, at this current moment, I'm an actor and a filmmaker doing X1.
I think it's so important to pursue one's passion. And as a high school teacher myself, I've seen that in my students where you have a passion for something, but they don't think it's a viable future. Or maybe they're told, hey, are you sure you really want to do that? That's going to be a tough road. And yeah, I mean, that's great advice, but that doesn't mean that you have to follow it. Right? So I think for you, you had it deep within you, and it had to sort of bubble up to the surface. Whatever you resist, it persists. Right? So you were resisting that urge, and then all of a sudden, there you go. You were back to acting.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So when I was looking at your social media, I noticed that you don't necessarily have a lot of content. So you're just sort of beginning, but I've noticed that you have shifted into doing something a little bit different than your earlier content. You're doing more bloopers, more actor type content. What made you want to do that?
I think at this point in my social media journey, because I'm just starting off, I kind of want to explore many different, ends of it, just to see which one kind of sticks or which one I enjoy doing the most.
Right.
And so I kind of started off, I posted like 2 monologues. It was like the first thing I ever did. I don't even remember why I posted those monologues. I just kind of did it because it was fun. And I was like, hey, I thought I did a good job of these monologues. And see what happens.
Right.
But then after those 2 posts, I gave up. I actually did not post ever again, probably for 2-3 years.
So why?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I was just discouraged. I didn't care about it as much.
Right.
Or I just felt like I just don't want to involve social media with my acting career at the moment.
Okay.
Maybe that.
I mean, social media is a very public thing.
Yeah.
Right? You're putting yourself out there. But granted, so is acting. I mean, acting, you've got to have a thick skin.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would think that it would be natural to put yourself on social media. But for some reason, maybe social media is a little bit more daunting than actually doing your auditions or your acting. How do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
I think because when you're doing acting, for instance, right, when you're going to auditions, or even if you're just being on set acting. It's kind of like it's your job, so it's like you go there and you have to do it, right?
Right.
I mean, even if you enjoy it, it's more of like you're going there and it's your job, so you kind of feel like you have to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm an actor. I want to get gigs. I want to get jobs. I want to grow my career, so I have to do those auditions. I have to be in films. But when it comes to social media, it's in my case it was kind of separate. So it's like as an actor in my head, I was thinking I don't have to do social media because
it's not part of a job.
Yeah, it's not part of the job. I don't have to wake up every day and do social media in order to make progress in my acting journey. At least that's what I thought.
I just realized something as you were talking. And that's what I love about doing strategy sessions, because I learn about you and then it leads me to other things, right? Because think about it. When you go to auditions, you're in a specific place, a specific time.
Yeah.
The people who see you are the people who are there at the audition. When you put yourself on social media, there's a possibility that more people are going to see you.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part that's probably more daunting, because you posted those monologues. You said you didn't post for like 2 or 3 years. Was it that you were afraid that more people would see you? Is that what?
Well, I think it was part of it. I mean, I think being afraid was definitely part of it too. Like, because that's a different space. Yeah. It's like because it's not like it's different. You know, it's like now random people are gonna watch me, but not just random people.
Right.
All my friends, all the people in my classes.
Yeah.
And like I'll feel awkward being it. You know what I mean? That was always in the back of my head, like naturally. And I wish it wasn't, but it just.
No, I totally get it. And I'll tell you why. Because you made me think about something else. And that is when I first started my social media, as in my Kelly Lorraine 111, I was still a full-time high school teacher. And I remember thinking, what if everybody sees me?
Yeah.
My coworkers are going to see me. My students are going to see me. What are they going to think? Is it going to align with them? I mean, I'm making spiritual content. Not everybody aligns with that.
Yeah.
And what if they judge me for it?
Oh, yeah.
And so I remember thinking, maybe I need to tone this down, or maybe I need to be more careful. And that's how I felt when we get the time. It's not how I feel now.
Yeah.
And I will say this, it says more about another person than it does about you, right? You have to be comfortable in what you do. And if you align with what you're doing, I think that's really all that matters, because I think there's always going to be people who judge. And I think with acting or social media, I think there's very much a similarity. I mean, it's not that anybody necessarily is acting on social media. I mean, there might be some people who do. But I think that not everybody's going to share your opinions. Not everybody's going to like what you do.
Yeah.
And I think that, you just have to do with what you're doing, do what you're passionate about, and just sort of go with it and not worry about what they're thinking.
And on top of that point, like if like posting, for instance, my 2 monologues, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's performance-based stuff, right?
Yeah.
So like people might watch that and they might be like, that was horrible. Like that performance was horrible. His monologue was horrible. I didn't like it.
Right.
And that's like scary. Cause like,
It is.
Cause like, as an actor, you want to do the best job and you're going to put your best foot forward, but also like being judged, even though it's part of it, it still hurts. You know? And if your friends, find out about it or something, and maybe you're just randomly at like a bar or something, and then now someone says, "Oh, I saw your monologue," and then they say something about it, and it's like, "Oh, like now you're embarrassed."
Then you got to talk about it,
and you want to like hide, you want to curl up into a ball and forget about it.
But you know what I think is actually interesting about this whole process is that sometimes it's not that they're necessarily judging you; they're projecting their own fears or they're projecting their own situation. In the sense of, there's a lot of people who probably would like to be able to do what you're doing. Right? Because it's not easy to be on social media. It's not easy to be an actor. It's not easy to put yourself out there. I think there's a lot of people who would like to be able to do that. And so sometimes they might come across as a little judgy or, ask you some questions or maybe even gossip and say, did you see so-and-so on social media? Did you see Andrew doing that? Or, did you see Kelly? And so I know I had to like deal with that too, because one of the things that I wasn't prepared for in starting my social media was that I was going to see my face and hear my voice nonstop. So when I first started Kelly Lorraine 111, I had a standard intro. Okay. And this intro was, this is going to be a mini general collective, whatever. And I would go into this and it would say, if it's meant for you, it's meant for you.
Yeah.
Right. And it's interesting. My online family really loved the, if it's meant for you, it's meant for you, because it was something that became my tagline. The only thing is that if you scroll down those old videos, all you hear is, this is going to be a, this is going to be a, this is going to be a, yeah. Or, you know, like you're going to hear, if it's meant for you, it's meant for you. And so I remember being like, oh my gosh, like I never thought I'd see my face and hear my voice as much as I do. And it's something that you really have to get used to.
Yeah, it is.
And again, you've got to have a thick skin because there are people who are either going to like it or they're not going to like it. And again, does it really matter in the end? No. But at the same time, we're human. Right. And so this kind of made me think about you because, you know, an actor needs to have a thick skin.
Oh, yeah, you do.
The feedback you must get, I can't imagine.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, even onto that point, like, even when I was starting off, like in my journey, like as an actor, going to acting school, I was like an introverted person, like for my whole entire life. So building up the courage to go on camera, or even go inside acting classes already takes so much.
Yes.
And again, seeing your face a lot, also hard. And then you have to hear your voice a lot.
Yeah.
And my voice was always something I was kind of insecure about too, like especially growing up, like, because I had like a list, even growing up when I was younger, I talked weirdly. And like people made fun of me for that too. I remember like vividly crying actually in class because someone made fun of me. It was probably like in grade 4 or something like that. And then I had like that insecurity, like if I talk, like I'm being judged because I am talking already. And then the looks come into play, and then performance, and it all kind of meshes together. And then, I mean, confidence just lowers to like an all-time low, right?
Right.
So it took kind of a while, like, to overcome it, at least to some, you know, to some degree.
Right.
Like acting school helped in that way because, you know, it was an open place where you can be expressive, where you can show emotion, and like people weren't like judging you all the time. They were like, you know, supportive, right? Even in their own harsh way, if you know, like my acting teacher was a bit harsh sometimes.
But I think
in a good harsh
that's a good teacher. You know, like I say this to all of my clients, and I'm going to say this to you today as we're doing your strategy session, and that is, I'm no fluff. I'm always going to tell you the truth because I care about you. And I think that comes from not only my upbringing, because in a previous video I talked about my dad. My dad would tell you the truth, no matter what it was. He wouldn't say it like harshly or meanly, but he would be very honest. I mean, if it was, hey, Dad, what do you think about this outfit? He would tell me. You know, he would say, I don't know about this one. You know, he would say, you know, why don't you try that? Or this might be better. Or if it was me growing up with horses, I was riding in competitions. My dad would coach me. And it's really hard to be coached by your own family. That's another thing.
That too.
He would give me the absolute truth because he believed if I don't tell you, who's going to tell you? And I have adopted that same thing. So when I'm in a classroom as a teacher, I'm honest. I always say, if I don't tell you, who's going to tell you? And when I'm in a strategy session, I'm always honest and upfront. And actually, one of my questions right off the bat, and I'll ask you, Tipper, how honest do you want me to be?
100% on it.
Good, because that's important. Because seriously, people come into sessions sometimes thinking they're so open. Yeah, give it to me, tell me. But then when they get the feedback, sometimes they might say, oh, I don't know, that might have stung a little bit. And I get it. But again, I think it depends on the intention. It really comes from my heart. I have very good intentions when I am giving that information or that feedback.
Yeah, I think over time I like learned to like embrace the honesty, right? And that's just kind of how it works. I feel it takes a while to kind of develop that thick skin to receive that harsh truth and then take it in a good way, right? And I think it's beneficial when you do that, because if you keep taking things the wrong way, then, you know, you can never really kind of get over that, you know.
Well, it's true.
High that you want to get over.
Yeah. I mean, and sometimes I think to myself, if we don't tell the truth, then how many times do we have to go through the process until we finally get it?
A lot, it can be.
You know what I mean? And so I don't think there's any value in somebody just telling you whatever you want to hear. Because if you're investing in your career or in your future, you don't want to waste time either. I don't want to waste your time. And you don't want to waste your time.
Of course not.
Right? So what I developed was a 4-step process. And before our session today, I asked you to fill out your root audit. So the root audit is a 4-step process where we're going to go through spot, source, split, and shift. And we did talk a little bit already about, you know, spot, because I mentioned that looking at your content, I don't see a lot of interactive content. Like I do see some photos, like, because actually you have acting photos and headshots that you need to do. I did see some bloopers. I guess my question is, what is your goal for your social media?
Yeah, and this is something I'm still slowly figuring out.
Right.
I think the audit's going to be like a great opportunity
so too.
to learn more about myself, more about my social media career, and
I agree.
how to go about making it better. But I think ultimately, like I want to grow like a community as well in a way where it's like a community that enjoys acting, of
Right.
course.
Yes.
That's what I love.
Yes.
Filmmaking even. But also a community that like, wants to, be entertained in some way with acting content,
Yes.
right? It doesn't just have to be entertainment in the form of like laughing or comedy, right? It could be like just learning something, kind of seeing the perspective of, someone like me who's acting, but like is very early on. It's kind of like already feeling the hard struggles of being an actor and kind of going through the process from the very bottom, right?
Right.
Because, it's not like I had any help, I didn't have any connections going into it. No one in my family has ever done,
Right.
acting. And they barely even support it. I think my dad and my mom are on board now.
Yes.
But, other people will be like, oh, yeah, great job. But, like deep down, it's not real, right?
Right.
But I want to be able to build a community that kind of, explores that more. Like,
Who identifies with
who identifies what I'm going through,
Or can
but
make a
also
connection.
entertaining. Yeah,
Yes.
connection. That's the ultimate goal. And growing that community, I feel like will help me, feel more comfortable on camera and as an actor because of people like me.
Right.
But also, it allow me to show myself, more, like kind of give me better exposure online.
Right.
Like if someone searches me up, they can see my Instagram.
Yes.
And if you see someone with an Instagram that has a bunch of acting content,
We're gonna take your Instagram, by the way. Just
come
check out Andrew.
come check me out. Seeing a person like that, you see their Instagram page, you can be like, okay, this person, they're an actor. You can see their content. They live it, they breathe it, and that's what they want to do, right?
Right.
And it's great to do that, I think.
But here's the thing, actually. I think there's one side where it's like, yes, the camera, right? Who you are on camera. Yeah. But then there's also like the other side, like who are you when you're not on camera?
Yeah.
I think that looking at the spot section here of what you filled out, I think you're actually very comfortable on camera naturally. That doesn't mean you don't have your moments or like your insecurities. But like if we're looking at what you wrote, you made a few notes for me. You said your most common thing is that you talk faster than you mean to on camera.
Always, yeah. I
Why do
feel
you
like
think you do that?
I think it comes from starting off as someone who was nervous. So even though I don't want to be like that, it's coming naturally because like that's just how I was growing up. But like that's how it was for so many years. And I haven't fully gone past that yet. I think that's part of it. But also I think like I'm also someone that's like in their head a lot, like when it comes to thinking, right? And not just thinking, but it could be anything. Like even regular conversation, I'm in my head, like thinking about if I'm saying the right thing, like, or should I say the right thing?
Yeah.
And then I'm like weighing the options too in my head where like,
I totally
what's the best thing to say in this case scenario? Is
Right.
this good? Is it? And it's too much sometimes. And because my mind is working faster than I think, I don't know, my body could handle it. It just comes out too fast. I don't know.
It's kind of funny because I think we're all overthinkers to some extent, right? But it's the way in which we do it. I think that matters, right? It's okay to think things through, but it's when we're kind of getting in our own way with the overthinking, like, am I saying the right thing? I think that's what you just said.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think people talk quickly because they think they need to fill up space.
I think that's me too. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we feel like if we leave a pause or like a moment of silence, that means something negative. And I don't think it has to. And one of the tips I used to give my students, because I'm also, I'm an English and French teacher by trade, but I also have taught entrepreneurship. And so whenever I would teach them presentation skills or interview skills, I would say, it's okay to pause. It's okay to take a little bit of a breath before you continue, because that shows that you are conscious of what you're saying. You're being, I don't know what the word is, but you're being mindful, right? It shows care, I guess, to some extent. And it's okay to let there be a pause. Sometimes people need to sort of like feel that little bit of a...
Think about it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's okay to take a moment and think before you speak.
And I think it's a great like point you mentioned that too, because like I'm definitely like that too. Like it could be even in relationships, like even starting off like in my current relationship or whatever, in relationships in the past, it's like, when you're on a date and there's like an awkward dance, no one likes it. I hate it so much.
Well, that's like some people who don't like small talk.
Yeah,
right?
I like, and I'm one of those people, like if it's like, we're talking, it's so engaged and then it stops, I'm going to be like, I'll see like a garbage can. I'll be like, the garbage can.
Hey, look at that garbage can. No, it's so true. It's so true.
I just hate it,
We're looking for things to fill the space that aren't even necessarily important.
Yeah.
Right? I totally get it.
So I feel that too. I don't like
Yeah.
awkward silence. So
Yeah.
I think that's part of it too.
Right.
So it's good you mentioned.
No, I think that's actually a really good point. Like I said, I don't know if spot is so much the issue though. And I'm going to move on to the next section, which is source. Because source is where we're talking about what's sort of underneath it. And you mentioned a couple of things earlier that I think are really important. You said when you were younger, you were very conscious of your voice.
I was him.
Okay. And so what age do you think that started?
I'm very young. It was probably like 4 maybe. Maybe like really good. Like even just when I started learning like to speak, and just when I started kind of speaking regularly.
Right.
It was probably already at that point where I was kind of, and I don't know why it wasn't as bad. Like I feel like I started off a bit more open, and then slowly it just progressed like worse over time. Like just as I got older, it got worse instead of getting better. You know.
And you know what's interesting is that I worked with so many people, not only in the classroom but also in like counseling sessions or strategy sessions. And I can think of a few clients that have had moments like this at a very young age where they felt very self-conscious.
Yeah.
And if they didn't address it, it got worse. So when we think of, let's say, having difficulty, let's say in social situations, I can think of an example of my own even. When I was younger, yes, I was very animated as a small child. Like people used to say, Kelly, you're very much an actress. Like you really do have that ability. And I did. But there were moments where if I didn't know the situation or I didn't know where I fit, I would get really quiet. And then all of a sudden people might misinterpret that as, oh, she's being snobby, or maybe she thinks she's better. It's like, no, I don't. I just don't know what to say.
Yeah, you just don't.
You know what I mean? And that's when we get the awkward fill in the blanks of like, look at the garbage can or whatever, like where I would feel awkward.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think that the more we ignore, the more difficult it gets to fix.
100%.
So if, let's say, I don't feel comfortable in social situations, I may not put myself in social situations, and then therefore it just grows and grows and grows. And then how do you fix it later? Yeah. Right. And so how did you overcome that feeling of being self-conscious about your voice?
Yeah, it wasn't easy. It was like, I don't think I'm fully over it still.
Yeah.
I think
that's
still
fair
there.
enough. Yeah.
I think it was like years and years of torture in a way beforehand, where it was just exactly what you said. I wasn't addressing it, right?
Right.
I wasn't really talking about it to anyone, and I kind of just kept to myself about it. So it just continued like that for a very long time. And I guess slowly it got better because I explored something that made me uncomfortable, which was like acting, right? Because at that point it's like I had to, right? If I go in that class, and again, I'm overthinking, if I go in that class and I'm not saying anything, where I'm like hiding, I'm the weirdo now in the class. So I feel like people are gonna have eyes on me.
And you may feel that way.
You know,
it may not be the truth.
It wasn't true at all, but like that's how I might have been feeling. And so I kind of forced myself to, be in a very uncomfortable situation.
Right.
Non-stop. Every time I would step in front of that class, right? And that kind of helped me overcome it more and more. But I think also it came from like a beauty standpoint too, in terms of like the way I felt about myself. Inside and outside, like how I looked as well, right?
Well, that makes sense.
I had a period of time where I had no confidence in the way I looked, and I felt like I was ugly. I felt like I was, just separate from everyone else. And then I had like horrible acne as a teenager, and that just brought my confidence all to the ground.
Acne definitely plays a role.
So
I can understand.
It was just everything against me, right? So it took years and years of just pushing, uncomfortable, next class, and then eventually I slowly got better, overcoming it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of how it helped Hank.
And it's kind of interesting because what I'm hearing is something that I think is very universal, and that's coming of age or going through the maturation process. Because I think what you described as a young child thinking about your voice, right? And then naturally, as you get older, your voice is going to change. So that, I'm sure, added to the mix.
And you
as
learn
well.
to accept your voice more, which I learned.
Because you're going to grow into your voice. Exactly. But then you mentioned the acne or not feeling confident or being in that sort of like ugly phase where you think, nothing fits right or nothing looks right or who am I? And I think that's part of growing up.
It's part of growing up. Yeah. And it's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah. And I think that, like I said, very universal. So obviously that's part of your source, but something else that I think is really interesting. You said nobody in your family is in the entertainment business.
Not even close.
Not even close. Okay. And naturally, when you said, I want to be an actor, I don't want to speak for you, but what was that experience like? I can assume, but you tell me, what was that?
It's a shock. It's a shock. And I think it's people, like I said, I still don't think people believe that I'm actually going to do it. So they kind of just ignore it and they kind of just write me off.
Right.
It's like, oh, whatever. He's going through a phase. He's lost cause or something like that.
Well, guess what? That's the moment where you go, watch me.
Watch me. Exactly. Watch me.
I mean, like, we're here to watch Andrew because this is what I notice in the classroom all the time. And that is a child can have a dream, right?
Yeah.
But it's up to you to believe that you can do it.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, like, you have to believe in yourself. And like you said, the most of anyone.
Yeah.
And there's going to be times where like you might feel like you're the only one that believes in yourself too. So if you're not believing in yourself at that moment, then, well, then you're stuck, right?
You know, on a side note, in building this new channel, I've been going through the ups and downs of something new. And I already have a successful brand on my other channel. And that has been an amazing experience. But starting something new can be very humbling, right? Where there are days when I sit with, let's say, only a few likes or very little engagement, or, you know, I get random feedback. And absolutely, I'm happy to take it all in. But regardless of whatever trend is going on in social media, I say to myself, I'm just me. And I can pander to trends. But at the end of the day, I have to be me.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the thing, is that if this is your passion and this is what you want to do, that you've got to pursue that. And that's when you say, watch me, right? So that's when you're in that mode. So I think that definitely is part of the source. Now, was there pressure to be like anyone else?
Yeah.
Because in families, we often see that. Where did you experience that?
I had this issue my whole life and it played into a lot of like the things we're talking about now.
Okay.
Like I said, I was someone who was always introverted. My brother was the complete opposite. He was extroverted. He was that guy that everyone wanted to hang out with, the guy everyone wanted to talk to because, you know.
Would he be the one that people would think would be the actor?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Oh, it's definitely, yeah. Like, and we would do silly things even as kids. Like, we'd go up in front of the family singing stuff. He'd be like one of the first people up there. I would be in the corner, like hiding. Like, don't pick me. You know, like I'm hiding, right? And him being that way, like, I never felt any jealousy, right? Because he continued this way throughout his whole entire like life, basically, like elementary school, high school, and college, right? And it's not that I felt jealous. I was always happy because I looked up to him. You know, I love my brother. I think he's phenomenal, and
we love our siblings.
Yeah, and he's great.
But we're different.
Everything he does, and I learn a lot from him too, right? But I think I was always like. I always felt like I was hiding in the shadow.
Right.
And that's because I was the opposite of him. I was quiet. I wasn't extroverted. And I had a lot of friends. I had great friends and people like liked me, but they kind of just forgot about me a lot of times, right? You know what? And we were in the same school all the time. So, I mean, I wasn't even Andrew, you know, for all my whole entire
You were so-and-so's brother.
I was, Alex's brother. That's his name. So it was just Alex's brother the whole entire time.
Right.
And it's like, am I even my own person at that point? It's like, you're kind of just... You spend your whole time trying to live up to your brother's expectations, right? And people just completely forget about who you are. And that also ruined my confidence in a lot of ways because I wanted to be more than that, right? I didn't want to just be in the shadow nonstop, right?
I totally get it.
It always felt like no matter how much I tried, I couldn't catch up, you know? Like I was here, he was here.
And yet I would bet that if you would ask him, there are things about you that he wishes he could do.
Probably, yeah.
And the reason I know that is because, again, I keep going back to my high school teaching, and that's what's been so valuable for me in what I do. You know, because obviously I have at this point, I think I'm around 22 years of classroom teaching and also my 5.5 years on social media. Okay. And I would say that when I'm in a classroom and I meet siblings, I don't say, oh, you're Andrew's brother.
Yeah.
Right? Know what I say? I say, you're so-and-so. Tell me how you're different than your brother or different than your sister. And I make a conscious effort to do that because I know for a fact that so many people get labeled as so-and-so's brother or so-and-so's sister. Like you have your strengths, but so do they. And you don't have to be the same person. I'm not going to imagine that you're automatically the same person because you're not.
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly respect it so much that you're like that. And I wished, like at the time, I wished more teachers were like that, right? Like I was told like things like, oh, you're never going to be as good as your brother, obviously, right? Or things like, oh, you know, you good mark, whatever, you got like a 80 or something. Yeah, you barely got like an 85 or 87. So it's like, okay, like there's nothing I can do. So I really respect like
I appreciate
that
that.
you put the effort to do.
I do.
And I wish I had that growing up, even, you know, as
Yeah.
as a student in the classroom.
I mean, this isn't meant to be parenting advice to anybody, but from a teacher's perspective, I saw this a lot where a lot of parents didn't realize what they were saying in the sense of like, you know, be more like your brother, be more like your sister. I think adults in general need to be aware that you are you.
Yeah.
And that's so important to a child's development, is to let them be who they are. Because ultimately that affects everything you do going forward. I don't think we really realize to the extent, because when I'm looking at your checklist, you made a lot of notes actually.
I did, yeah.
For source. I mean, like,
I was
like, wow, like you were really,
thought to going.
yeah, you were, because like, for example, I accumulate ideas in my notebook or drafts folder faster than I ever actually post them.
Yeah.
Interesting. That was your often.
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
It's common, and I'm still doing it like to this day.
Yeah.
Like there's actually a lot of like video ideas I have at this very moment, and some videos that are already prepared,
Right.
but like they're not posted yet because like I feel like they're not perfected yet. I feel like they're not ready.
Right.
And I have so many notes that I'm making on these videos. I want to do this, I want to do this, and my brain's working, but like I'm not actually, you know, posting it yet because of like I'm holding back. I'm holding back, and I'm waiting, and I don't know why I'm waiting sometimes, but like I feel like at this end.
Well, I say this all the time, and that is, if you wait, you'll continue to wait. It's never going to be the right time. It's never a feeling. I think everybody sort of waits on a feeling. And it's like saying, I'll do this tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. But if you're not going to do it,
It's never going to happen.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right? If you're not going to do it now, when are you going to do it?
Yeah.
And so I do feel like we use ideas, I don't want to say as an excuse, as a reason. I feel like I've been saying that a lot lately. It's not an excuse, but a reason to hold ourselves back, because when we feel like we're learning, we feel it's so valuable that it's a great reason to not push forward, because it feels like progress. But in the end, is it really progress? It's just building your drafts folder.
Exactly. Nothing happened.
Right? You did say, though, that you feel pressure, right? And we did talk about this. You feel pressure to sound or act like other creators instead of trusting my own voice.
Yeah.
Is that because of the pressure of acting? As in, like, to be like the biggest star, or what's popular right now, or to the people who are getting the roles, or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's pressure in that way for sure. Like I feel pressure that I have to be a certain way, I have to act a certain way, look a certain way, right? In order to match, you know, the same level that these people are doing, right? Like, and it works with content too. Like I'll look at like acting content, and I'll look at like some of these people doing these videos, and I'm like, do I have to be at that level? Like, well, what do I have to do to be at that level? Like, and I feel tons of pressure in that way. Like,
Interesting.
if I don't match that level, am I actually going to succeed in like social media? Am I actually going to succeed in acting? And this thought kind of goes through my head sometimes.
You've brought two really important points to me that I want to address. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the fashion world is very similar to the acting world, in that commercial modeling is very different than runway modeling, right? So if you were to look at the runways, there's a very different beauty standard. You see a very unique looking group of people on that runway. And the reason why they're so unique is because they're unique in the sense that, like, we're choosing people who are conventionally different than what you see. Okay. So then I would ask you, wouldn't it be better to just be you instead of trying to be like the biggest actor out there? Like, isn't it important then to be unique? Or let me know, I'm curious, like in the acting world, should you be like those other actors? Are they looking for, let's say someone's like, I'm looking for a Ryan Gosling type, or I don't know, I'm looking for a Timothy Chalamet. Like, what do you think when you're going to auditions?
Yeah, I mean, I think type is an important thing in this case too, because like actors are often being casted, you know, for their type, right? And you get auditions based off of your type too. And some people could find that type like really, really quickly, right? And like you said, it could be like, oh, like the charming person, or the athlete type, or the rugged kind of person, right? And sometimes that type, you know, that title kind of gets thrown around a lot.
Right.
And there is some pressure that you need to you need to, you know, kind of find your type, or your options are limited, even though having multiple types would probably be, you know, beneficial. Right. But I think starting off, a lot of actors when they're starting off, it's like they're just getting casted and getting jobs based off of it. So it's kind of hard. And I think where I'm at right now, like even like I'm only about 2-3 years into acting, I just think I'm still struggling to find that type.
Right.
Even if like, you know, photographers, headshot people, agents or whatever may tell you stuff,
Yeah.
you don't really get a solid answer. Even my acting like teacher when I was in acting school couldn't really help me.
Right.
But it could have been because he was trying to, you know, push me to find my own type, the type that works for me, right? Or what I want to do. But I haven't yet, and I'm still, you know.
To be honest, I think I know what that is, though. Believe it or not, I may not be an acting coach, but I think that's something I can help you with. Because to me, that goes still into the source section, right? I think that when you are believing in yourself, right, and you are focusing on your uniqueness, you will find your way. It's when you're searching for yourself and everybody else that you end up losing yourself.
Yeah.
And I'll just share something anecdotally. So when I do sessions with people, I actually do speak anecdotally. Not because I want to talk about myself. It's because I want to show you that I can relate. And something that came up for me recently was some feedback that I got. And I totally understand the feedback. I don't have an issue with hearing it, but I want to share what it made me realize. And that is, there's a lot of content out there that talks about raw versus polished. Okay, like they say, just be raw, grab your iPhone and just film yourself, right? And don't worry about the background. Don't worry about how you look. Don't worry about how you're conducting. Just grab that phone. And to some extent, I understand that, but you still have to be conscious of the quality of the content you're making. It can't just be some random stuff that makes no sense. There has to be some clarity there. But on top of that, we say, well, be careful of being too polished. Well, by nature, it's authentically me to be polished. Okay. Like I've mentioned in many videos growing up, my parents would be like, you know, sit up straight, you know, or here's your phone lessons. When I answer the phone, hello, like my intonation in my voice, that is authentically me. I've grown up that way. So I know that there are times that I look polished on camera or that I speak very polished, but that is me. And so I think that's actually what makes me uniquely me. And if I just try to be like everybody else on social media, and yeah, okay, I could go grab, you know, like, here, I'm going to grab my microphone and I'm going to just talk and be raw. Is that totally me?
Yeah.
You know, and if that means I'm going to be polished in my videos, then I'm going to be polished because trends come and go. I authentically need to be me and ride that out. And that doesn't mean I can't get better and deviate a little bit, which of course I'm already doing. You know, I'm looking to do things that are more interview style, not formal. So there is growth in that aspect. But I'm also a believer of the fact that you can loosen up, you can't tighten up, just like when I'm in a classroom. Yeah. So yes, I have to start with a bit of structure, you know, get the rules out, talk about the amplification gap in kind of an unpretty format at times. But as I'm going, look what's happening. I'm deviating away from that and being more open to discussions and growing in that aspect. And I think that's the same for you. You have to be authentically you and just hope that eventually it just sticks or you find the right roles, because isn't it true about acting? They say je ne sais quoi, like the person needs to have something. They had to have that something that's uniquely them.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
it might be anything sometimes.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. And I mean, that's what makes you you. So, you know, going back to the root audit here, I think source is probably the biggest section. And I think that people would think it's other sections, but I have a feeling that source might be, you know, the source, no pun intended, of where you're at right now. Because I mean, let's talk about split for a second. Okay. Split is where we're looking at the structural versus the personal gap. We know that in acting or going to Hollywood, there's a huge amplification gap, right? There are people that are part of networks, they work together. And if you're not a part of that network, it's very hard to crack into that. Okay. Do you feel that pressure?
Yeah, I do. I do feel that way. I feel like a lot of times, you know, you're putting your best foot forward. You're doing so much work to get these auditions, to do such a good job. But then like you could be competing with people who, again, are already, you know, they're already in there. Yeah. They already know people.
Maybe they're a family member.
They're a family member.
Exactly. You hear that a lot in Hollywood.
It's like,
it's the nepotism that we hear about. Yeah.
It's nepotism, and like I'm trying like 10 times harder, but they have that extra edge,
right?
And that extra edge is gonna put them well ahead of me.
Right.
And it sucks, but it's like, you know, it is what it is. And you feel pressured that, you know, I kind of have to as well be like that. Like I have to kind of find a way to get in there, try to find a connection in there to, start my own career or get a like.
And you know what? It made me think about something. Like I'm thinking about some of the top creators that I follow. Is that with the Amplification Gap, I always talk about the elite creators, versus the mid-tier, and why it's so hard for a mid-tier creator to crack into that elite status. And when I think of some of the elite creators that I do follow, if you think of someone like Tony Robbins or Lewis Howes, they are people who consistently put their faces in the rooms that matter. Okay, whether that means they're gonna clean, whether they're just gonna be an assistant, whether they're gonna just be in the room somehow, or they're gonna just DM the person that they want to meet. Like they're relentless that way. And I think that that's kind of the way to do it, is to learn as much as you can, right? Study the greats. When I think of someone like Michael Jackson, like such an amazing superstar. If you hear his audio notes, or you could say like voice notes of his time, he talked about the idea of studying, right? Of your belief system, of, he would study Fred Astaire, he would study Jackie Wilson, like he was all into the greats. Because if you want to be great, you have to study the greats. You've got to act like the greats, right? So you got to put yourself in the energy of greatness. And so, I mean, that's one way to start closing the gap, is to work smart versus hard. You don't have to exhaust yourself, but you do have to research, you do have to study, and you do have to find ways to put yourself in situations. Yeah. And that means putting your face out there. Yeah. People have to be exhausted, seeing your face to some extent. It's like me with my posting. Some people may say I post too much. Okay, but if you think about the creator economy, if your content is being showed to more non-followers than the people who follow you, well then how many people haven't seen you or haven't seen you?
It's working.
So
do me a favor.
Repetition, I believe, is key to social media. I really do. Finding different ways to say the same thing. Yeah. Right? And with my Amplification Gap, I'm making content about reality TV, sports, music, but it's all coming back to one central truth. And that's what I want for you too. Because yes, we have the structural, but on the personal side, you have to get past those limiting beliefs that we talked about in source, because that's the thing you can control versus the things you can't control. I can't control who turns the knob on YouTube or on the platforms, right? But I can control within myself. So that takes time. That takes time, consistency, and effort. And it's not something that happens overnight. I mean, when I look back at my own story of where I was even 10 years ago, wow. Have I been through a lot?
Yeah.
But you know what? That was me pushing through the hard. You have to choose your hard. And so I often say to my clients, is it truly complicated, or are you just making it complicated? And I would say 99% of the time, like we are making it complicated. And so, my advice is just continue working on being your best self, putting yourself out there, sparking new energy. I mean, I know I'm shifting, into a little bit of the shift category here, but, I think that the only way to move forward is to take steps.
And it could be uncomfortable steps. You never know.
They're very uncomfortable. Yeah. Because, I mean, something that I always say is, if the comfort zone's so comfortable, why do we want to leave it?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we sit and complain and then don't make changes. And so if we really want to make changes, we have to do something different, right? Nothing changes if nothing changes. And so, looking at your notes here, you expect yourself to do a lot. I think it's the expectations. It's how you feel about yourself. It's your own expectations, right?
100%. Yeah, I always felt like I have to. I think part of it is because, again, like being alone in this, with little support, right, from people close to me, family members, whatever. It's like me versus the world, and that means me having to do everything by myself, right?
I totally get it.
And that's the mindset I have. Like, okay, I gotta go make the videos, I gotta record, I gotta edit, I gotta make sure everything is perfect, who's gonna help me, right? And that's why it's always like I try to network and meet people that are like me, that are willing to help me. And I met some great people, like in acting school, even in my close friend group, that are willing to help, if I ask them. And I need it sometimes, but I think the vast majority of the time, it's a lot of just me, right, by myself.
There's two things that I want to point out, and one is kind of funny, and one is like a personal, and one is a bit of a structural thing. And that is, you're right, you've got to network with people who are like-minded. That's the structural part. Whereas if you look at the elite creators out there, or elite actors, or networks, whatever you want to call it, they stick together. They support each other. And I think that's the thing that baffles me, is that why is it that at the mid-tier or at the beginner stage, we don't stick together more? Like, my goal in my community with Watch Me Build Social is to rally the troops. I want us to stick together. I want us to support each other. Like, Andrew, I want to share your content. I want you to share my content. I want to be able to, genuinely comment on your videos and provide you that support. Because the reality is, and I hate saying this, friends and family don't support us the way strangers do.
Yeah, I know.
And it's sad. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, it's part of that. I keep going back to that's like that source section where like you would assume that your friends and family are your number one supporters.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they're showing any malintent necessarily. Like, I don't think they're doing it to be like, haha, I'm not going to give you that like.
Yeah.
I think it's just sometimes people want to see you do well. They don't always want to see you do better. And I hate to say that, but I think that is a reality.
It is.
And they have their own projections and, their own things that they need to work on.
Yeah.
And so it's a tough topic, but I'll take it to a personal side here now. I'm going to segue a little bit with that thought about friends and family. Something that I've learned, and I'd like to pass on to anybody who hasn't been through this. When we go through the toughest times in our life, we often think we would like the support of our friends and family. When I went through the worst times of my life, I'm not going to lie, in retrospect, I said, where was everybody?
Yeah.
I remember driving to school every day, crying like I'd never cried in my life, feeling so low that I was like lower than the ground.
Yeah.
Okay. Like beneath ground.
Wow.
And rock bottom, like at my worst of my worst. And I would fix my face, put my makeup back on, walk into the school, smile, do my job. And not one person would even think to say, how are you? Are you okay? Now, maybe I'm good at like masking those, sad feelings, but like nobody ever thought to ask me because I was always smiley and bubbly.
Yeah.
And even within my own family, I know they mean well and they love me, but I felt like I was alone.
Yeah.
And to some extent, in retrospect now, I'm actually glad that I was. And the reason for that is because only I could have taken myself out of that situation. Although it would have been nice, yes.
Of course.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. It would have been nice. On the other hand, though, the sad reality is that sometimes people like to keep you in the energy where they know you. Okay?
You want to elevate.
They like, for example, if you're somebody who overgives, overdoes, and problem solves for everybody, of course they like you in that energy because you're doing everything that satisfies their day to day. The second you take that away, they're unhappy and now they have to address things that maybe they haven't addressed. It's like a domino effect, right? And so my advice to you then is, if you are feeling lonely, absolutely reach out and ask for help. There are people who will be there for you. At the same time, that is the moment of realization where if you've got nowhere to go but up, if you got to make it or break it, as my father would always say to me, you got to make it. And I live by that because I don't have a choice. And so that I think is what's motivated me to shift. And so when I work with clients, I'm here to help people see that they're more powerful than they even realize, that you have everything inside of you that you need. But sometimes we just don't believe it. And I think the biggest strength of an actor is that they believe it. Because if you believe it, your audience is going to believe it, right? The camera is going to believe it. So I definitely think that that's really important. And looking at what you wrote on the shift page, you had mentioned sometimes you spend hours trying to crack the algorithm or chase a trend.
I do, yeah. Sometimes I do. Because you see a video and it doesn't perform well, perhaps.
Right.
Or it's a video you really think is going to do good.
Right.
But it doesn't. And then it's like, okay, now what? So my first, thought process is I got to go look at the video. I got to look at the analytics. So I performing. What did I do differently in this video compared to this one? And then becomes a whole entire thing.
Yeah, we can make it something bigger than it actually is.
Yeah.
But it's really just a snapshot of data of a moment in time. It doesn't represent all of you. It may represent a day of your life, but maybe not all of you. And I think that it's really hard to not take these things personally.
Yeah.
But it really isn't personal, like we said, because sometimes it's the platform.
Yeah. Just
Right? It's the structural gap by the algorithm.
I've learned to get better at that. So it doesn't bother me as much.
Right.
But once in a while it still kind of lingers in my head.
Naturally, we're
It
human.
makes me think. Yeah.
We're human. And I mean, I think as I looked at your notes, you wrote a lot of notes on this one too. You still feel like your intention is to post as much as possible.
Yes. I think.
You just want to pump it out.
Yeah. And I want to bring something up.
Yeah. Do it.
And I told you about it. I'm going to say it here, but like,
Yeah, let's hear it.
part of the reason why I started, or my intention or the reason why I wanted to post content was because of Kelly. And it's because I've seen so many videos of hers pop up on my Instagram.
Yeah.
And it was a lot, right?
Yeah.
But
No, I'm laughing because I hear that a lot. I see your face, Kelly, all the time. Yeah.
Unlike others, like I actually like took it in a positive way. In my head, I'm like, if she can post, all these videos, then why am I not posting anything?
Right.
Well, I could do this too, right?
Yeah.
And seeing your videos, I'm like, okay, like now I should start doing this too. And that was like, a little push for me to try to get going into.
That means a lot to me, Andrew. And it's funny. I remember when you said it. It was the last time that we were filming. And that just sort of came out of nowhere where you said, hey, listen, I want you to know that inspired me. And that's the whole purpose of this, is that I want people to know that they can do it too. And I think that is something I've always thought about with my other channel. And back to what you said at the very beginning, I'm going to come back for a second. And that is about building a community.
Yeah.
When I built my community on Kelly Lorraine 111, I would go on live. I still do this to this day, by the way. 5.5 years later, I still do the same thing. And it's a teaching strategy that I use even in the classroom. Every day when I walk into a classroom, I say, hi, Andrew. Hi, so-and-so. Hi, so-and-so. Hi, so-and-so. How was that basketball game?
Yeah.
How was that play? Oh, you went and saw that movie this weekend. How was it? Right? And then at the end of the class, I say, bye, so-and-so. Bye, so-and-so. Have a good night. Enjoy the game. Have a great weekend. And I'll say it over and over. Like if I have 30 kids, have a great day. Have a great day. Or if I see them in the hallway, I always acknowledge them. I make sure that they're seen. And they always tell me that they feel like they're a part of something. And it's genuine. I don't do it just to be fake or to just for the sake of hello and goodbye. Yeah. I genuinely mean it. And I think that when you are kind to people and you make them feel seen, they show up for you. They shine even brighter. And I think that that's really important.
Yeah, it's positivity. Like,
it is.
Especially you starting off. And also I think it's like consistency. Like in my head, I'm thinking if I post more, right?
Yeah.
Then, that will help me grow. Especially because like I don't have that much videos right now. So I just want to kind of boom, boom, boom. And it actually allows me to explore what I like to post the most.
Sure. Yeah. I agree with that. So you have to kind of look at the data of this, and I think that, I did a video recently on data with Audited, who's a former head of growth and works in, the corporate world. And he has really enlightened me to thinking about data. And I really think that you're looking for trends. You're looking at the data to see what works for you and what doesn't. So I definitely encourage that. I would just sort of say to you that you have to be mindful of your central truth because you can't just randomly put out too many different things because then you won't necessarily get the traction I think that you're looking for. You will get some information, you'll get some data, but eventually you're going to have to make sure you're super clear on what you're putting out. So I think for a while, yes, you can experiment, but it should not be a permanent experiment. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think as long as every video is better than the last, that's my philosophy with these videos here that we're doing right now. I want every video to be better than the last, right? Because there's going to be things that you like and things that you don't like. But I mean, I think, like I said, with building a community, I would encourage you to go live more because I think as an actor, that's really important. And back to what I was saying about the classroom, I adopt that same classroom philosophy of hello, so-and-so, bye, so-and-so to my live streams. My online family appreciates that I say, hi, Andrew, and I know their names. Yeah. I actually respond. One of the feedback that I hear often is that most lives on social media, they don't get spoken to or acknowledged. And I actually respond. And so I think that's something for you too. You should be going on there, talking, networking, And that's the way to actually get you seen for your personality more than anything, so that they can connect with you and then want to see your journey in acting. So,
eventually I do want to actually explore like live streaming too. I think at this point it's just been fear that stopped me as well, right? Like I feel like I'm scared to go live, right?
yeah.
But I think I am going to reach a point where I won't.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go for it for sure.
We can go live together.
Yeah,
you can join me. You can join me and watch me build social. We'll go live together and we'll talk and we'll get some feedback.
Yeah, because I guess I just I don't feel personally inside that I've reached that point of being comfortable enough to go live.
Right.
By myself, at least.
Well, maybe we can explore that. I'm happy to do that with you. But, I just think that going forward, to give you some actionable tips, I do think you need to have a central truth. I think that you need to sort of decide, because I think something I asked you the other day that comes into this conversation is, are you looking to explore, serious acting? I don't mean like being a serious actor. I mean like as in dramatic roles, or is this comedy? Because you were posting bloopers and that's great. But if you want to be taken seriously, there has to be some sort of focus. So I don't know what your focus is. So when I look at your content, I don't know the type of actor you are.
100%. Yeah.
So that would be something that I would advise you to think about, as in like what you want to put out there. How do you want to present yourself? Are you a dramatic actor? Are you practicing scenes that are dramatic, or are they all comedy? Something else I don't know if you do. Do you take any like famous scripts, like famous movies, and recreate them?
I do, yeah. And actually, that's actually written in my notes actually for some content I want to make.
Yeah.
Spoiler. But it's about like...
Come check those out.
Okay, come check this out. But I want to do scene recreation. Yes. Like recreating a scene. Yeah. Like my favorite scenes. Yeah. Really well-acted scenes. And I want to post that on my social media and do it my way. And it's an idea I've had for a very, very long time. Yes. I just haven't done it.
Because to be honest with you, when I think of your content, and I've looked at your content, I think of the bloopers or I think of the auditions. So that kind of slipped my mind. So that tells you something about the feedback. Where maybe you need to go back to that and say, let me show my skills, and maybe even teach some of those skills. I know you might not feel comfortable teaching, but everybody can learn something somewhere, no matter the level you're at. There are people who wish they could be where you're at right now.
Yeah.
Right? So don't sell yourself short on your experience, because you can help somebody. Yeah. Right? And do you have any questions?
No, actually, maybe I do. Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned a little bit of, how, an idea of how I should progress and how I should, go from here. Yeah. I guess I'm curious more about that. Like, you have any thoughts of where I should explore next? Yeah. Like, do you think I should maybe try and put out more serious content, or is it more about me trying to figure out if I want to post that kind of content first before doing it and then going out?
This is a really good question, and I'm glad you asked, because this is really important to anybody who wants to do coaching. It's great to have one session, and I'm hoping that this brought you some clarity. The thing is that this requires time, consistency, and effort, and we can only scratch the surface 100%. Barely on day one.
Yeah.
If you're really serious about improving the situation, it's important to invest in that consistency. I offer, yes, a strategy session, but I also offer like a bundle of sessions. The people that I work with consistently, that I meet with every couple of weeks or every month, typically do better. Yeah. Sometimes I find that I'll meet with somebody once, I'll see them 8 months later, and then 8 months later, I'm still addressing the same things that we talked about 8 months prior.
So it takes time.
And even then, people get busy and they forget and they go back to their old ways. Whereas, when we're consistent, we have accountability. And so that's one thing I would say to you. And that's not a solicitation that you have to speak to me. And you could decide what you want to do. I'm always in your corner regardless. But I do believe that consistency with somebody who's going to keep you accountability is golden. Okay. You can't find that in AI, because AI will be a yes person to you, or a yes being, whatever we want to call it. But to your point, I think going forward, it is about figuring out the type of content that you want to make. I think you have experimented, to be honest with you. And this is just me being like really blunt. I think you've already experimented. I don't think you need much more experimentation. What I would say to you is, actually, I would use the advice that Ankit gave me in the data video. So if you haven't seen the data video, maybe go check it out. But he gave me some advice saying, why don't you test your audience? So my audience on Kelly Lorraine 101, they love readings. And he's like, well, maybe that's a good hypothesis, but why don't you try doing something that's more like career related, right? And so make more content with career and check that data. So maybe we could take Ankit's advice and say, why don't you make serious content, recreating scenes, do that for a couple weeks, but consistently post.
Yeah.
Right? We can't just make like one post in a couple weeks. We're talking, you know, maybe, we're talking maybe, you know, at least a post a day or a couple posts a day where you can showcase your talents and then track that data. And then maybe you can do some other scenes and see how that resonates with your audience and then collect over time and see what really works for you. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
Hopefully that answers your question.
It does, definitely.
Andrew, I think we could probably talk for hours. And,
Yes, you can.
I really hope that this brought you some clarity because I think this has been an amazing experience. And I'm so glad that we've been able to share this with the audience. I'd love to do this again with you. I'd love to know how you're doing. So please keep us up to date with that. But really, thank you for your time. It's been really great.
Thank you so much as well.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. And you know what? I think it'd be great, like, if we, you know, did it again in like 6 months' time or 5 months' time. And I am going to continue on my journey, and you're going to continue on yours like you have been.
Yeah.
And, you know, progress is going to be made, and then we're going to have more to talk about, I'm sure.
We're going to support each other.
Yeah.
We're building our own network here.
Creators.
You got it. You got it. Andrew, thank you so much. We're going to tag you and make sure that your Instagram is posted.
Thank you.
And if you would like to do a strategy session with me, my information is in the description box below. If you'd like me to do a mini audit for you, I'm open to that as well. You can always email me with your details. I can send you my root audit workbook, or you can download it right off of my profile. Okay? No email required. It's just a link. You get the workbook. You can audit yourself, see where you're at, and go from there.
And if this video wasn't enough to convince you, you have reason now to ask her more.
Yes.
Ask her questions.
Ask your questions in the comments. I would really appreciate that.
And she will help you just as she's helping herself.
Thank you, Andrew. I really appreciate it. So this is Watch Me Build Social. If you'd like to check out more videos, please subscribe. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.
And
watch me. Thank you, Andrew. I really